What's poppin' with the squad? How y'all doing? How y'all living? It's your boy Amari. We are back with another album review, and this time let's talk about Tory Lanez Alone at Prom album. Okay, Alone at Prom. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I'm still bumping that, and it's still on my on repeat list on Spotify. So let's talk about it. Alone at Prom, the latest Tory Lanez project coming off the heels of his contract expiring and him being a free agent, basically. It feels like this is genuine Tory, the Tory that he wanted to give us, Tory that was allowed to experiment and give us a different sound than what he is known for. And to be honest, I think this is the Tory that we was all waiting for. Um, this project coming in at only 36 minutes leaves plenty of time to be enjoyed over and over and over again, which, you know, might be the reason that I took so long to review it because I was kind of busy enjoying it, not gonna lie. What we have from Tory is this very retro synth pop theme coming through loud and clear, using a lot of sounds from that 80s pop era, that 80s electronic era, and I actually really enjoyed what he did with it. I think this project is right for his voice, and I think his voice fit right in on top of the production that was given, which was amazing, by the way, in my opinion. I loved what he was doing with it. Not only did we have this synth pop, this electronic pop that is from who knows when, but we also had this little infusion of jazz with the saxophone in there. And I love that. I think that it wasn't a clashing sound. I think it rather went together quite nicely, and I enjoyed that. And I think that combination really elevated this project for me. I find myself thinking that Tory Lanez really does find his home vocally on a lot of these older sounding projects, a lot of these projects with older production on them. And I think this might be the reason why I honestly became a fan of Tory Lanez with his Chicks Tape 5 project. All of these older songs that we know and love that he managed to put his own style into, I think they were done very well and I enjoyed them. And I think that carried over to this because for some reason, it, like I said, he just felt incredibly at home. It didn't feel like he was experimenting at all. It didn't feel like this was something that, was spur of the moment. It felt like something he had been planning for, but at the same time, it just felt like something new, like something we had not gotten from him previously. I will be the first one to tell you that not all of the songs hit hard on this album, but I can definitely say that all of the songs are very solid in my opinion. I don't think there are any songs that are skip worthy. I don't think there are any songs that I flat out just don't like. And to be honest, I could find myself replaying this album as a whole for an entire day before getting tired of it. Some of my favorites include Enchanted Waterfall, which is probably my number one most replayed track on the album. We have Lavender Sunflower. We have Lady of Namek, which is, I love the title as a nerd myself. I think that's a great nod to everybody out there that's a fan of Tory's, but also gets where that name is coming from. So shout out to him on that. But also, 87 Stingray, and I think production-wise, 87 Stingray might be my favorite because that's the first place where I noticed his infusion of that saxophone sound into this older retro pop sound that he was creating, and I just found myself replaying the ending instrumentation bit over and over again because it is wild and it just sounds so good to me, and I just found myself enjoying that more so than probably any other piece on this project. I think part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much is because I think Tory knows how to make a song that people enjoy. He knows how to make something that gets stuck in your head. Um, just lines like, I left my stuff at your place today. Said we're too young for this innocence. All of those types of lines that get stuck in your head over and over again. and just the entire chorus in that song, and not just that song, other songs that follow suit. Pretty much, he knows what he's doing, and it became apparent when after the first or second time I was definitely singing these songs in my head. And I honestly, just like I said, I can't stop talking about the production enough. A special shout out to the songs Ballad of a Bad Man and The Color Violet. Those two songs right there, chef's kiss, in my opinion, just because that, like I mentioned earlier, that fusion of the jazz element with this retro synth pop electronic thing that he was doing with the production, it just meshed so very well together. And I like, there's not much more to be said about it. Um, Maybe I am biased because I just have a huge thing for the sax, and I think it's such an enjoyable sound to have. I grew up listening to a lot of jazz, and I have a lot of friends that play the sax or that just play instruments in general, and I just find myself falling in love with instrumentation that is well done. So maybe I am biased at that point, but I honestly do think though that combination served its purpose, and overall it just helped to elevate this album so well. Overall, I think I'd give this album a solid 8, solid 7, 8. I don't think it's album of the year or anything. There are no skips on this album for me personally, but I find it hard to give it such a higher rating when we have projects like Dawn FM, which, in my opinion, I think this whole period, this whole period theme of music is done better by The Weeknd. I honestly think that The Weeknd feels a lot less forced than Tory Lanez does when delivering his music. But I also just believe that there's definitely going to be better projects, not only to come from Tory himself, but from this, I don't want to say genre that's being created, but this genre that's being flashed back to currently in music, where they're taking older sounds and they're bringing it to a modern era. I think there's going to be a lot more that can be done with it, and at the end of the day, I don't see this album personally sitting on top of all of these projects that could come. That isn't to say that I dislike it. That isn't to say that it doesn't hold its own. But I definitely would love to see more. I would love to see it just feel more natural coming from Tory. But I don't want to take anything away from him because this was a wonderful project, and I honestly do think it is. I prefer it over Dawn FM. Do I think it's better than Dawn FM? Not necessarily, but I would be listening to this more than Dawn FM, and that's just my personal opinion. That being said, I would love to know how you guys feel, what your opinions are. I would love to know what songs you liked or didn't like, what elements of the project that you liked or didn't like. I would love to know that and more. So drop down to the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. That's all from me. I will see y'all in the next one. Thank y'all for watching. I'm gone.